Okay?
Okay.
It's recording now, and it's really nice and clear and all that stuff. Um, so, Benny, it's October 29th, 2022, and I just finished a video with Lisa about Folly.
Uh-huh.
You know all the stages of this, of the Folly. You're kind of like, were you there at the birth?
Huh.
Tell me how you came here and when you did, and then let's go from there.
Oh, I just kind of landed here.
Of course,
Um,
we all did.
yeah, and it's just, I don't know. You can call it fate or whatever, but I kind of look at it like, if there's this place draws people in, and if you belong here, it'll find you, or you'll find it.
I agree.
And whenever we have events here, we don't put no street address. If people don't know what the Folly is, then they probably don't need to be here.
I've learned there's real
Yeah.
truth in that.
And if they are someone that needs to be here, then they'll find it, or it'll find them. And it's happened before.
No, I get it.
Yeah. So it's pretty special, and everybody here has their Folly. Al has his Folly, which is the Folly. I have my Folly, which is birds,
Oh, yeah.
and working on the barn. Bradley has his Folly, which is the aquaponics and the greenhouse and the interested in learn how to simple ways to purify water and things of that nature. And so there's been a lot of stuff going on here, and Fishtails was one of the more long-standing things that we did. I forget how many years that we did it.
Lisa just said they did 10 of them.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
Man.
And it all started out with it started out with Peter Pan, which was our very first children's theater.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we decided Lisa basically decided to come up with an idea to come up with our own idea and do our own.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Fishtails came about. And the idea of the puppets was basically Bradley.
See, everybody sparks each other, right?
Yeah. And he built the heads, did all the electronics inside of it, the radio controlled. He built pretty ingenious, built the thing so that the eyes could move, and the eyelids, and it's all
amazing.
It is amazing.
I've got a good video of that, of
Yeah.
one of the close up of the puppets.
Uh-huh.
So that's good.
And whenever we built the bodies, I pretty much pieced the bodies together, figured out how to make the joints work and set it up so that they could be strung up.
Mm-hmm.
The heads had to be strung up with heavier rope
Mm-hmm.
because they were heavy.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was we just used that high tech, the braided nylon fishing line, which is real skinny and practically invisible, but it's really strong. It was
Polyfilament or something? I don't know. You know better than I.
it was it's braided.
Oh.
But it's real thin and it's real strong. I forget the name of it, but it was like 80-pound test, but it's only just no bigger than thread. It's really strong, so that worked out really good for the arms and
Jesus.
that part, because it was practically invisible. It was hard to see. It
That's
wasn't
amazing.
like having a piece
And the
of
kids
chalk
learned
on
how
it
to
or something.
remote control radio, run it this way.
That's what we did from up on the top with the wands that were attached to the we had 2 strings on the hand so that it could go like this,
Mm-hmm.
and one on the wrist so that it could go like that, and then none on the elbows, and then one on
So
each.
what happens when you do this on the wrist?
You just take the wand and go like that.
What does the puppet do?
It would,
Their hands would do that.
yeah.
Okay.
So it was attached
I
to
get it.
one.
So
There
this
was
is- this
a
is-
string here and a string here and one on the wrist.
And the wrist would make it go like
and if
this.
you dip the wand like this, then it would go down.
Yep.
And if you move the wand this way, then you can make the hand go like that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And and as far as the arms, then if you pulled up on it, it raised and lowered the arms. And then we had a string on each knee, so that when they were sitting there, they could move their legs.
I remember seeing that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it took a while to get them stringed up because you have to get them sitting there in the position, you know, and get the strings hooked up, and then make sure they're the right length whenever they were sitting down, and then make sure that they're not too long whenever they were standing up. So you had to find the middle ground so that you could be able to manipulate them, and so that whenever they stand up, you had to hold the wand up a little higher. But
But I bet it was tricky about being on cues. You probably had to stare at the script all the time, right? No,
not really.
Well, you knew what. Okay, well, you knew when your puppet's talking, then you probably have to really do your thing.
Yeah, they had somebody else doing all that.
Okay.
Because they had someone on a microphone that had the script,
Okay.
and then the people operating the puppets would go through it enough times that they knew which one it was, and they'd just move it accordingly as best they could. It
Mhm.
wasn't
Right.
like
Jim
totally on
Henson.
cue, but it worked good enough.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was amazing to first see them. Wow.
Yeah, the first year we did it, it was a little tough because I wasn't familiar with the script or anything. So, you know, it was a learning process. And as the years went by and we did it over and over again, even though the stories changed a little bit, the basic function of it we got more familiar with it, and except for the one year that Ben's head came off. And
Was that during a performance?
yeah, it was right near the end.
Off with the heads.
Yeah, and fortunately, the puppet was that when his head came loose, it didn't go very far, and some people maybe didn't even notice. And so I got up behind it and put the head back on, tightened it up, and that was that. And then one year, the rope came loose or something, and Ben fell on the floor.
Hmm.
And Ben had too much to drink.
That's right.
And, so it's been pretty fun.
Yeah. No, man.
In later years, I've been a little more disconnected from it because there's another younger crowd of people coming in here. The last couple times that we did it, we had other people operating the puppets. You know, as it progressed, and I kind of got out of that role and passed it on to somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, after 10 of them, sure.
Yeah. So it's been quite an adventure.
It has been. And these are just going to, this all happened because I saw Bradley when I brought those people by, and he said something about how he's doing like a biography of the Folly.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's how it is. We all go, oh, he says, do you have anything? Oh, yeah. And, you know, so we all just merge it together. And it's not meant to go, hey, everybody come to the Folly. It's not like that. It's just we all know there's a story here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give Lisa a copy of this and let her decide what she wants. And I'd love it if she put in some of the footage of those fishtail things, you know. But anyway, it's the idea. It's a great thing. It's all, you know. I did a whole bunch of stuff in the '90s. I think you remember that. That was my period.
Yeah, I used to do the words of music here for a while, and which was really cool.
That was my time. And I remember me and Michael Pond. I had the money, $500 or $200, whatever, and he knew how to do it, and that got the lights up, right?
Yeah, and Bill ran the wire. Bill dug a ditch and
That's
ran
right.
the wire down here.
Yeah, and I did a little bit, but you guys watched it happen, and I didn't realize how important that was. I didn't realize that means all the live music after dark.
Oh yeah.
Didn't figure that out. You guys did, but I didn't.
Yeah, it's going pretty good, and I'm in the same thing in the barn now, redoing some of the wiring, and so that's a whole nother project. Mostly focused on this. I'm refiguring all these pens right now and moving them and getting it set up a little different.
Could you tell us a little bit about your birds? And you know, what the routine is? Tell me, let's just hear that.
Yeah, Carol used to have the chickens years ago. I didn't have anything to do with it, but she had chickens, and they'd slowly disappear. So for a while there, we didn't have any.
I like that slowly disappeared.
Yeah. Which is
Winding
what
up on
happened.
tables, yeah.
You know, the predator thing, it's really hard because there's all kind of things out there that are looking to kill these things.
Oh, really? Okay.
There's foxes, dogs, raccoons, hawks, owls. So I've been working on this project for 10 years. But anyway,
A
Carol
really good
used-
fence, right? Really good
yeah,
fencing?
fence and the coops, and trying to get it to where, and that chicken coop used to be over at Carol's sister's house, Catherine's house.
Mm-hmm.
And Robert Buckman told me, well, she's got this chicken coop over here that she's got to get rid of for the insurance because it wasn't being used anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him about it because the chicken coop we had up there had burned down. And I said, well, we need a good chicken coop. And I asked him, you know, what kind of shape is it in? So he told me, well, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. It's got some really nice heavy-duty wire on it.
You right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went over there and took it all apart and stacked it up, and then Robert hauled it over here over this trailer, and then I put it back together.
Yeah.
That's the big chicken coop over there with the roof painted.
Yeah.
So that was a
that's the
job
one.
in itself.
Okay, that's from Catherine. Yeah.
And then me and Bill built the fence around it in the front, the chicken yard,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started piecing these other coops together. But anyway, Carol used to do the chicken thing, and but she'd put them in that back room in the house in a big box or something. But after a couple of weeks or so, when they start growing, they can start reeking. You start smelling pneumonia,
Oh, interesting.
You know,
Of course. They're
and so I said, well, I can set up a thing down there in the barn, and raise them up down there instead of you doing it in the house. Because that one year she said, we need to get some chickens. We don't have any chickens. So she got some more chickens, and I put them in a tub in the barn
Mm-hmm.
until they were old enough to go outside. And that's basically how I got into it. Then I did that for several years, and then I was like, then I started buying some chickens of my own.
Yeah.
I started buying them. I said, this is pretty cool, and I like having the fresh eggs.
Yeah. Oh my.
But
Yeah.
then it's been a few years ago now that I thought, well, I'm gonna get some ducks.
Mhm.
So then I got into the ducks.
Is it true, Benny, that ducks, if they're going through a garden, they are very picky. They don't. Some farmer said they eat the weeds.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, they're good. Certain things in the garden that you have to keep them out of there. Like if you plant corn,
Oh.
and especially the chickens. Anytime you dig the dirt around here, them chickens will be all over it. If I dig something with that tractor or anything, if you just disturb the ground, them chickens will be all over it. They'll be climbing all over that tractor and everything.
Oh my gosh. Looking for
But-
seeds and stuff.
Yeah, so if you plant corn in the garden, you got to keep them out of there because as soon as you plant it, they'll go in there and dig it all up and eat it.
It's amazing.
But once stuff grows up to a certain size, then you can let them in there, and then they eat the bugs and all that stuff, and so that works out pretty good. It's a matter of timing. Certain times that you got to keep them out of the garden,
Yeah.
and then once things get to a point, you let them in there, and then and they scratch around, and they will eat some things. Tomatoes, they'll peck at tomatoes.
Yeah.
So you got to
Heck,
put a cage around them.
Yeah.
But that works out pretty good.
Sure does.
So here I'm into the bird thing, and then we ended up with all these peacocks, which is just novelty. They're not for
Right.
eggs or anything.
I remember my father would find these peacock prints on his car hood.
Yeah. Well, I've had them all over my truck.
Oh, they wander. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the ones Kristen next door, she's got the white ones. they come over here and hang out, and then they're over there. And I got two males here that we got out of these baskets. Some of these were hatched here. They go over there, they'll disappear for a day and hang out over there, and then they come back over here. So hers come over here, and a couple of these ones go over there, and they go back and forth. But there's close to 20 peacocks around here now. Years ago, we had one female, and we wanted some males, and we had a hard time with getting that going. And then Kristen moved in next door, and she had peacocks. And next thing you know, they're breeding like crazy.
And where does Krista live?
She lives where Dan Smith used to live. Dan,
Okay.
Dan and Candy.
Right.
And so we think it's pretty cool because the peacocks are just unusual, and
Yeah.
they're so it's just novelty.
Oh no, it's cool. You know, I remember. You remember when they brought those people in. I'm not going to do that anymore, by the way. I suddenly realized how special this is. You know, but they did enjoy seeing all your work.
Yeah, and we've had people here, but it's probably a lot of these people like college students and stuff. They don't know anything about this. People in the other people in town, people that we would call townies, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask anybody that lives in Shepherdstown, other than college students and stuff, if you ask them if say it's something about the Folly, then they know what it is.
They know what it is. But particularly our age and stuff. But what we like it if they don't know where it is.
Yeah, I had some peacocks that were loose. They were over there by Engel Mollers,
Mm-hmm.
and I chased them across the road. And I went down one of them driveways there and asked these people if they'd seen those peacocks around there. And they said no, they hadn't. And I asked me where I was at. I'm like, over here. I said, you know Bradley Sanders? And they said no. I said, it's over
At Glen Meadows?
Yeah, well, it was over there right across the street from Engel Moller.
Oh, yeah.
that
Okay,
house back
I
there.
got it.
And I said, Bradley Sanders. And they said, well, we don't know who that is. I said, well, it's where the Folly is. They said, oh, the Folly. Yeah, I know exactly where you're at.
It's funny.
And so, yeah, it's pretty cool, because, we have events here, that sometimes it could be construed as a big party, and you could have people coming here looking for a party that don't understand what's really going on here, and so they don't.
You've been here long enough. I remember back like in the 90s, it would get more known, especially when there's live music, and then the crowd would get bigger. And whenever the motorcycle guys started coming from Martinsburg, and they'd hit somebody, and then we're back to Space One again.
Yeah,
the cycle's over.
Yeah, we don't need none of that
No,
here.
it got too well known.
Yeah, and so it's a nice happy medium the way it is. And there's people that find this.
Well,
We had
they
a
know
guy-
if they know if they're on the same wavelength. You know,
Yeah,
that's the
we
best
had a
way.
guy, old Tony Capone. He came here for a yard sale that we had,
Mhm.
and he said, "I've been trying to figure out where this place was at for years." He said, "I could hear music and stuff," because he lived over there in Glen Meadows. He said, "I could hear the music, and I drove around and trying to figure out how to get back here for years." And he come here for a yard sale, and he said, "Finally, I know where this place is at." We ended up being really good friends with him.
Yeah, good.
But that's how he found it,
Yeah.
And if you're somebody that really jives with this, it'll find you. Or
Well,
you'll find
it's
it.
like Jamie Byron and the Wood Guys.
Yeah,
There's always you kind of know or not, that
Yeah.
you're part of something.
it's all in the circles you keep. And
I he used to tell me about Christoph coming
Yeah.
in and making this. That's how you get involved. You build something.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's moving ahead still. Just in the last few years that Al put the wings
I
on,
know.
which is really awesome. So this is a really incredible venue. This is a nice venue.
No,
It's a
Al really
small
has
venue.
something. He has so much to be proud of, and I'm sure he is proud of it.
Oh yeah, and he's instrumental in a lot of things that you know. I mean, it all started with him pretty much, as
So-
far as the Folly and the events.
When you came, Benny, was it the Folly was just hadn't started yet or had started? Was he making it or not?
There was music events and some, you know, smaller events going on here.
So that would have
That's
been like the
whenever we were-
'90s, mid '90s.
Yeah, when we were a museum company.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I came here to do the museum work,
Okay.
which I hadn't even never really thought of. But Paul Broyles hired me in here, and I knew Bradley.
What year was that roughly?
Oh, gee, that's 20
Early '90s.
years ago. Yeah, late 90s.
Okay.
Mid to late 90s, probably.
Right.
It was 2000, I think like February of 2002, I think, that I came here and went to work for Bradley. But I knew Bradley from the open mic at the Mecklenburg.
Right. Words and music, or no? He
Yeah.
did. Oh, he played the drumming. He did drumming.
He,
didn't
he,
he?
he played the congas.
I remember Sundays they had all the drumming guys.
And I talked to him many times at the Mecklenburg, you know, and yeah, I like talking to him. But we never talked about work. I never even asked him what he did or anything. You know, we were always talking about this. And so when I come to work here, he was always up there in the office doing stuff. And I didn't even know that that's
the same
who I
guy,
was
right?
working for.
Yeah.
You know, and one day Paul said, "Well, come on up here. I'll introduce you to Bradley." I just didn't make the connection. So we walk in there, and he's like, "Hey, you work for me?" And I'm like, "Hey, I'm working for you." You know, we already knew each other, but I had no idea. And that's pretty much how it all began. And then I started getting into this, and it was a challenge
Yeah.
doing the casting operation and
Oh, my.
everything. And I'm like, I think I like this pretty well.
I
you
saw
know?
I saw the thing of the round table of the oil rug walnut. How that was made.
Oh yeah.
I put that on Facebook, and people are going, "Wow!" You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of really incredible things that has been made here, and some things we've failed at. You know. with,
But I remember maybe this is before you, but they had these Ringling Brothers. There's this big table for the head of Ringling Brothers Circus.
yeah, Bradley.
And that big clown.
Mhm.
I wish there's a photograph of that. I'm sure
Bradley
there is.
has pictures of it.
Oh man, that just knocked me out. But
That's
that's
incredible.
but that's before you came, right?
That was before
I gotta put that in somewhere. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's an amazing piece of work, and that's an example of what that man can do.
What was one of your favorite? Let's do this. Tell me one of your favorite projects, and then we're at 23 minutes. But just tell me the favorite project and any more you'd like to add, and then we'll be done.
I like making them signs. I
Uh-huh.
made a sign for the Stone Soup Bistro,
Yeah.
and you know, that was one of the things that Bradley was like, "Well, this sounds like a good job for you," you know. And he said, "This is what you do," and you know. And so I got their business card and I enlarged it, gridded it off, enlarged it, and drew it out on the wood and carved it out, painted it. That was the first one, and then I did the sign for the Raw Earth Organics that Kristen had up in town. That's the one that had the sunflower on it, and I put the gold leaf on it,
Oh man,
which turned out to be really beautiful.
that's great, man.
And I enjoyed doing that a lot. I like doing the carving and stuff. I don't do much of any of that anymore because I don't have time for it. 'Cause it takes a lot of time. And the miniatures, the little miniatures that I used to make.
I remember seeing some of that.
Yeah, miniature tools and miniature stuff. And that was really a lot of fun.
And I guess Bradley has some pictures of those.
Yeah.
Okay. See, like I said, no matter, it just feels like
Yeah.
it's all coming together.
Bradley's pretty good at archiving stuff. So he
well,
has pictures of probably just about everything that's going on here.
we sat down and had a talk about his
Yeah.
his holographic whatever his filing system.
Yeah,
And
I'm not so.
I'm not. I don't.
so meticulous about archiving stuff. I got stuff I've done that I wish I had some pictures of, but I just didn't do it. But
Yeah.
Bradley's he's pretty meticulous about. He archives everything that he's done here. He has tons and tons of pictures of all kinds of stuff. I have a few pictures of some stuff. I have some pictures of the signs.
Okay. Anything else off right now, Benny? You know, I could be back if I have questions.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And so, whenever the museum company folded up, they had grandchildren, and they got tired of being on the road all the time, and had a couple difficult jobs that didn't work out that good. So, and then everybody kind of went their separate ways.
Yeah.
But I was like, I ain't really got anywhere to go. I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna tough it out, and I stayed here for, I don't know, 5 years. I didn't have any income or anything, but and I'd go up there and get $20 off of Bradley every once in a while for this or that. But
You just work through it. Yeah, I get it.
But now I'm on Social Security, and so
Me too.
I'm pretty well sitting pretty here.
Because you don't need, if you know how to live tight, you can do
Yeah.
fine on a small social. I'm like that.
Yeah, and I used to, even when we were a museum company and Tara was running the office up there, I used to go up there and tell her, I ain't got no beer, I need some beer. And she'd give me a check, say go get some beer, and just let me know how much it is.
Yeah.
Come back so I can balance the book.
Well, that's how it works, right? It's real easy to go, if people don't want all kinds of stuff, it's real easy just to get along.
Yeah.
So look, I'm going to go 27, 16, 17, 18, 19,